These are the most important things to focus on to have an ultimate account. Let's talk about it. What's good, YouTube? NoGoodEman here, coming to you today with the most important things to optimize your account. So guys, we've never really talked about each and every important game mode and really the more important game modes. If you really got to narrow it down, there are some key things that you guys always want to focus on within your soul leveling or rise account journey to make sure you guys have the most account optimal. But before we talk account optimization, make sure you guys leave a like on the video. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you don't miss a live or an upload. And then finally, as always, support your boy on that ARMORY website to eat on those free codes. Join 600 other people in supporting the monarch of gaming, and let's go ahead and go from there. What are we talking about when it comes to account optimization? Honestly, the first thing to discuss might be the gates, guys. So when it comes to it, yes, you guys know gates are very important, but do you know the real importance of gates? Do you know why almost every creator is mentioning that you guys should always grind your gates? It's because of this bonus active EXP that you can get over time. When you guys complete a certain amount of gates, you get bonus rewards after clearing, let's say 2, let's say 3, so on and so forth. And after you guys clear your EXP based bonus gates, you can actually get gold after that. So let's show you guys an example. Let's go ahead and rescan. And then as far as the gates you guys want to grind, well, we actually got all 3. So look at that, perfect timing. You guys want to be grinding your dungeon breaks, your red gates, and then your special gold gates if you are low on gold. So regardless, guys, each and every one of these dungeons give you guys various allotted rewards, and these rewards are super important. If we're talking about the raid gate, you're probably going to get things like hunter skill scrolls, hunter mana power elixir, and then even let's say the mark of times 1 or 2s. And then if it's a Sun Genie red gate, you'll get things like player skill scrolls, and then you'll get things like rune fragments as well. And then as far as the dungeon breaks, these are more so important because this allows you guys to get a bunch of special player weapon designs, and this is very good because you guys need this to limit break a weapon to, let's say, level 110, level 120, and then the gold gate is pretty self-explanatory. You're looking at a bunch of gold, so if we go ahead and just do a sweep real quick, then we can get some gold there. Boom, 60k gold almost, and then we even get the EXP bonus right there. So we're very close to hitting the max level of 105 in soul leveling arise currently as of March. And then you guys can see we do have bonus actives when we're talking about gold. Again, this is a little bit, you know, minuscule, but let's say you guys are prioritizing your keys, and the reason you might want to prioritize your keys depending on where you're at in your soul leveling arise journey is going to be in the benefits you guys can get as far as just clearing gates regardless. So if we clear out some gates, I want to see if I can get the reward before talking about it, but let's go ahead and do some more sweeps. Boom, here it is. So the shadow energy, guys. While the shadow energy is very important, you never want to slack on gates because you have the ability to get shadow energy, and this is very important. If we go on to the army of shadows, guys, you can see that the army of shadows is very essential to your soul leveling arise journey. If we go ahead and show you guys, I have a pretty much stacked shadow of army of shadows, whatever you call them, and as you can see at the bottom, I'm having almost 400,000 power just by having all these shadows unlocked, by having them all maxed out and having the army level as high as it is right now. So regardless, I'm still nowhere near my own max. As you can see, it's going to take me about 20,000 shadow energy to get to that nice level of 130 on the army level, and that's going to give me almost 40k more power. So passive grinding will allow you guys to increase your shadow army levels even more. And I want to say shadow army is probably, or shadow energy is probably the only optimal place you can really get shadow energy is going to be gates. There's not going to be any other really good place unless we're talking about, let's say, story mode. There's no like weekly that's going to give you shadow energy so consistently. And then in doing your gates, of course, you want to do your gate mining. You want to go to the exchange shop. You want to grind out and exchange some very good things in there. As far as the exchange shop, some very good optimal things to always get in here is probably going to be some artifact enhancement chips, because as new artifacts release, you guys will always need to be on an artifact grind. I don't care how perfect you guys think your artifact substats are, always grind out your artifacts, or at least always grind out your artifact enhancement chips. That way when new artifacts do come into the game, you guys have a bunch on the back end and you're not really worried about that. Another thing you don't want to worry about is going to be these advanced mana crystals, so go ahead and stack up on those, and that is my suggestion on the gate side of things. But where do we go from there? Let's go ahead and talk about story mode. So as you guys know, if you're an endgame player, I probably don't have to worry about this too much on your side of things, but story mode is going to be very important. And in fact, I need to do my damn story mode myself so I can probably level up and get closer to that level 105. But regardless, guys, story mode allots you guys so many different rewards, and I can't stress it enough. you want to play story mode to its fullest potential. And mainly if you don't, let's say you're a mid-game player or an early game player, the main reason people play story mode is to unlock all the other content on the right side. So if I had a new account, I probably would only have the access to, let's say, Hunter Archive, gates, and story mode, and probably whatever events is going on. And then playing story mode actually allows me to unlock various different game modes, whether it's Battle for the Time, Guild Boss, POD, WOBL, Simulation Gate. So regardless, story mode's always going to be very, very important if you're getting things like EXP, if you're getting things like, you know, other game modes getting unlocked, or if you're getting things like just various different rewards you can. And then keeping all that in mind, trophies is also going to be super big, guys. You want to be grinding out your trophies. When you guys can 3-star content in story mode, you want to 3-star that content in story mode. So as tedious it may be, and you know, sometimes the rewards are tedious, or the battle missions are tedious, right? Let's say you're going to a very hard mission and it's like, oh, don't get hit less than 29 times, right? But you're getting hit with a bunch of wave battles. I can understand the frustrations with that, and my best suggestion for that is, when you guys get strong enough, just go back and auto the story mode. I'm gonna be real, autoing the story mode very much works. Let's say if I went back to, let's say, chapter 15, right? Looking at where this is, it's about 200,000 power, and I have that on my Sun Genu alone. So I could solo that without any supports, without any other hunters, without even the shadows, guys. So regardless, and story mode gets nerfed almost all the time. So story mode is going to be very easy. Keep in mind, this is hard mode, Ant King, and let's see what it's looking like. 900,000 power, that's a bit more relative. So very much respects to that side of things, but you do want to be grinding out your story mode. Is going to be one of the most important things. And then you want to be grinding out your story mode trophies, because you guys have the ability to get a lot of rewards. We're talking $250,000 of gold, a bunch of Essence Stones, and a bunch of weapon draw tickets, whether it's on the reverse side, which gives you custom draw tickets, or whether it's on the main side that gives you, well, rate up draw tickets, and then normal mode gives you custom draw tickets. The next important thing to talk about is going to be your activity funds. This is going to be like your AFK experience, the experience that you guys earn over time. As you can see, there's various different other rewards that I get as far as experience. So I'm getting things like experience, gold, mana crystals, let's say artifact enhancement chips, weapon enhancement gear, things like that. You guys can see the importance in this. And of course, we have things like special funds if you guys are using the subscription packs. Now, I'm not going to talk about that a little bit too much, but this is pretty worth it. If there is one thing to spend on in SLA, it might be this. But again, I'm not a financial advisor, so I want to preface by saying that first and foremost. Now, regardless, you want to basically take advantage of this. You guys want to basically level up as high as possible, and this is going to be something that's going to help you level up as high as possible, right? As we know, we just got the level expansion in the last update, in the March update, so a lot of players are grinding to that level 105 area. And then of course, if let's say we're expecting a level increase in the next update, players are usually going to save this for an entire update, because these funds can stack up to 720 hours or 30 days, and then they can eat on that end. And then I do want to note that you guys do want to be taking advantage of AXP funds. Shout out the guild syndicates for leveling up mid video, but you guys do want to take advantage of the EXP funds via the guild exchange shop. So there's a buff in the guild exchange that actually gives you the ability to increase your activity funds that you get. So if you looked a bit closer, when I did claim my activity funds, I got a buff through guilds, and that's going to be through this putting in time. It's going to increase your activity funds EXP by 3%. And I don't know when you guys are watching this video, but I do imagine that once guild versus guild gets released, we're going to have the ability to level up these guild buffs, because as you can see, it only says level 1. So imagine this at level 10, imagine this at level 5 even. We're going to see insane numbers like 5%, 10%. We're going to be able to grind EXP even more. Of course, we're probably going to need it because of the level increases that's going to come in the various future. Now that we talked EXP, we've talked gates, we talked story mode, let's go ahead and talk about hunters, guys. So of course, I don't know when you guys are watching this video. You could be watching this video, let's say the next day. You could be watching this video a week from now, a month from now when it's posted. Regardless, guys, I do want to say, when it comes to drawing your units, of course, as a content creator, we're always going to show you guys the best units possible. We're going to recommend the best units possible, but all in all, guys, draw for your favorite character. Honestly, this is so leveling a rise, and of course you've probably playing this game because you have a favorite character. Draw with that character in mind. Now, of course, whether that character is good or not will depend, and that's what all of our guide videos are for. So refer to our hunter tier list, revert to various different things. But I will say, as of March, as of the March update, as we're heading into April, the wind team is very strong right now, and it's on the rise. I wouldn't say it's as strong as the fire team. So if we're going to talk about things like the rate up draw, we do want to see something probably like our fire team meta where we have like Radaru, where we have like Gina, and then we do need Kane. Kane will drop when the next update hits. So in about 13 days from now, she's gonna drop, and then she's gonna be in custom draw, allowing you guys to draw for her on that side. Otherwise, you guys can go ahead and grind out for your win team, because the win team, again, like I said, it's on the rise and I don't see it getting any weaker. So you can throw in things like the Amami Amire, and then you can have people like Hansi Mei. Let's say you want to draw the new weapon, which is the Stormbringer. You can go ahead and throw that in, and then you can even throw in the Demon King daggers. We didn't talk about things like weapons, but I do want to note that regardless of what you guys draw, there will be timeless units, meaning that there's going to be units in the game that will be good regardless where you're at. So you can see this video in a year from now, and I can guarantee you that these units will still be nuclear in some way, shape, or fashion. Let's go ahead and talk about them. We're talking about mainly Fisher, we're talking about Isla Wright, and then we're talking about the boy Min Byung-yu. I do think that these 3 support units are always going to be a cornerstone. You guys want at least like 2 to 3 support units on your side. Not to say you need to run 2 to 3 support units, but if you have any 2 of these 3, then you guys should be very good in the content to come. And then if you guys want to know some timeless weapons, here's my suggestions. I do know that Plum Sword, Moonshadow, and Thetis' Grimoire will always be a cornerstone staple for any Soul Leveling Arise content. Honestly, not saying you can clear all content with just these 3 weapon combos. Weapons will definitely get a bit more complex as you go into harder content, so you don't want to keep that in mind. But I will say Plum and Moonshadow, if you guys have this at high advancements in your early game, you will see that it's going to allow you to go to insane places, and it's going to allow you to reach insane places until you get stopped up by, let's say, the late game content, the end game content. And then Thetis' Grimoire is a very, very good staple, increasing your damage, increasing your weakness damage to targets, freezing your targets, and controlling the battlefield. And since we're talking about timeless, let's go ahead and talk about some timeless artifacts in Solo Leveling Arise. So this won't be an artifact guide, but I do want to point you guys in the right direction, telling you guys that the best artifacts in the game currently, as of right now, the most timeless artifacts in the game is probably going to be the Burning artifact. So whether it's Burning Curse for your DPS units and Senji News, whether it's going to be Burning Greed for your tank units, or whether it's going to be Burning Blessing for your support units or your DPS / support units, you guys will definitely want to look for these 3 artifact sets, because currently they are the only sets that have 8 set effects, and with 8 set effects, that allows you guys to get even more power. And if you have good substats to back that, you guys will see an increased insane amount of power into your team. So if we look at, let's say, my hunters, Radaru has 300k power, and that's just off an 8-piece Burning Blessing set. We're looking at Choi Jonin, he doesn't have a, let's say, 8-piece set, but let's look at somebody like Goto Ryuji. Now if we go ahead and throw in the 8-piece set, you can see he went to 335,000. So if I actually like leave and come back, he should be my strongest hunter. Yes, he is. So you can see the difference when he does have an 8 set effect versus, let's say, let's throw on that other set I had. This is when I run him as a support unit for my Senji Nu, but look at that drop, guys. So a 50k power drop. Of course, not all these artifact substats are probably the strongest. This one's a level 55, but 8 set effects come into play so much more than you guys may think. So consider 8 set effects for your hunters, especially. Now, of course, if we're talking DPS units, people are probably running something more similar to 4-piece Curse and 4-piece Beast, or let's say 4-piece Curse, 4-piece Obsidian. That is also good, but regardless, guys, you want to get some Burning artifacts on your side. And then we touched on shadows just a bit earlier, but we didn't talk about the most important shadows within Solo Leveling Arise. So let's go ahead and talk about them. You guys probably already know this, but Igris, yes, he's going to be an insane shadow in any content, the early game, the mid game, the late game, the end game. You guys do not turn your back on Igris. He will always take you where you need to go. You can't knock him down because he has a shadow authority that's going to increase all team members' critical hit rate by 8%. This is added after all the calculations. This is added after the 50% crit cap. So regardless, Igris will always be a staple for any hunter mode, any Senji Nu mode, any mode. If you guys want some crit, you probably don't want to use him with Choi Jonin specifically because he doesn't crit, but regardless, guys, that's just the Choi Jonin teaser. Let's go ahead and keep talking though. We have shadows like Big Rock, which I know Big Rock has kind of quote unquote fallen off as of late, but I do want to say that Big Rock will still be a staple for the mid game content and when you guys are trying to focus skill DPS skills. So think like magnifying slashes out of Sonic Stream or just high damaging skills in the game. You do want to get that or give that a boost with the big boy Big Rock because he's going to increase the entire team's members basic damage by 12%. So we're talking about shadows in which you probably want as a shadow authority or as the main shadow, but my third suggestion here is probably going to be Beru. And as far as Beru, he has an insane shadow authority that's actually going to increase the entire team's attack and critical hit damage by 5%. initially we all thought this would be a low amount, but as the Workshop of Brilliant Light released, we saw that Barrel was actually very useful, and Barrel is very useful across various different game modes. Workshop of Brilliant Light, Power of Destruction, Battle for the Time. A lot of people are using Barrel in that main slot because he provides so much as a shadow. So not only does he technically have a double shadow authority, buffing more than one stat on your entire team, but he also has something like damage increase buffs that he will inflict on a target, increasing damage taken by 5% up to 20 seconds. And then he also heals the entire team. So Barrel does a lot, and I'm not gonna lie, he's a very, very good shadow, and those are probably going to be the 3 primary shadows that you guys want to look for in SLA. But let's not negate the sub shadows, because as you guys know, when you are building a team, let's say we go to manage presets, you guys know how these teams work. You guys get at least 3 shadows. So what are the 3 shadows? What are some sub shadows you guys might want to rock? You might want to rock something like, let's say, Iron if we're talking about Hunter battles. Why do people run Iron on Hunter battles specifically though? It's going to be because of his defense decrease skill. So decreasing the enemy's defense by 12% by 10 seconds. He has multiple skills that does this, and you definitely want to eat on that. You don't want to use this on Sunjinu sides or Sunjinu game modes though, because Iron will not, or Iron's defense decrease will not stack with Sunjinu's defense decrease when you guys use the shadow step. And if you're playing Soul Leveling Rise, if you're playing it, you know, just even casually, you should be extreme evading. If you're dodging, if you're not dodging, you're probably dying. So make sure you dodge, or make sure you dodge. But regardless, guys, when you dodge, you activate shadow step, and when you activate it, it decreases the enemy's defense by 60%. And with that, that does not stack on Iron's defense decrease. So it's not a 72% defense decrease on a target, unfortunately. So it does not make Iron a good shadow to use on the Sunjinu side, but that is okay because we have sub shadows like Serbi, which is a very good staple because he has an infinite duration combustion effect. He is one of the only shadows that have an infinite lasting skill. So you definitely do not want to slack on Serbi. He is a hunter you might need in every battle, right? Whether it's Sunjinu or hunters, I do think that Serbi always should be in a lineup, and it's hard not to put Serbi in a lineup in all regards. But let's go ahead and keep on talking. The Ice Witch Bestie. The Ice Witch Bestie herself has a defensive penetration increase skill that's going to increase the entire team's defensive penetration by 10% for 20 seconds. Not to mention, she also has a freeze skill that will freeze her target. And then Ice Witch Bestie, if you guys are like endgame players, you might have utility in running her as a primary shadow. I do want to mention that as a sub note, but of course, the last shadow to talk about as a sub shadow might be Beru. So I know he might be a good main shadow, but he still would be a very good sub shadow in any regards, because remember guys, if we're not talking about a shadow authority, he still has this punishment effect at the armament skill, which is basically at the general ranking. So if you guys get him to general pretty much immediately out the gate, you will see these punishment skill inflicted on targets. He still has the heal on targets, making him a very, very good staple for shadows. And if we go ahead and go to manage presets, let's go ahead and show you guys how you basically should build your shadows. So again, if we remember what we just talked about, right? Egress will always be a very good shadow to start. Serbi will be a must-have shadow on your team, and then from there you can decide whether you need, let's say, Beru for an extra heals or for some extra punishment effects. If you're dealing with the Workshop of Brilliant Light, you definitely want to take Bestie either as a sub or a primary. And in the case that you take her as a primary, I don't really run Egress as a sub shadow all too often, so that is when you can throw in Beru there. And then if it's hunter mode, then you guys probably want to throw in the big boy Iron for that defense decrease. Amongst that, do not forget about your gems. Do not slack on your gems. Your gems is going to be the most important thing on the back end in Solo Leveling Rise. I think that if you guys have properly built gems, then you will see an increased damage increase. You'll see an increased ease of gameplay within your game. Now, of course, I could just be saying this on a whale account, but regardless, guys, if you build out your gems properly, I promise you, you will not regret it. This is currently my gem breakdown. As you can see, we're going for things like precision, all orange. We're going for things like MP consumption, all purple. Things like defense or defensive percent, all green. Attack percentage, all red. And then HP percentage is better than additional HP. I believe it was. If I'm wrong, go ahead and comment below and I can own up to that. But I do think that HP percent is the better core on the blue side. And then something you also do not want to slack on is going to be that armory. So as you guys see my current armory total power is 176,000. This plays into my battle tier. And of course, you want to have all these armory slots unlocked when you guys have the ability to get those unlocked. So when it comes to unlocking armory slots, this is tied into your battle tier. So making sure you guys have a high battle tier will be basically how we talked about each and everything. As we reach battle tier 56, another very good tier, now we have the ability to get even stronger in SLA. But regardless, guys, make sure you guys are grinding out your armory. And when I say grinding out your armory, I basically mean leveling up these armories of perseverance, or what is the other one called? It's called Armory of Change. Make sure you guys level this up to level 7. It's currently level 7 as of now. I do think we're getting an armory expansion in the April update though. So we have the ability to take on more armory slots, and then we'll probably be able to take our weapons to higher levels. And amongst that, there's going to be a variety of different things, of course, you want to grind, but some key things that I personally suggest is going to be Battlefield of Trials, both on the hunter side, both on the player side, but more importantly and more recently is going to be Battlefield of Trials Challenge. This is going to allot you guys so many essence stones, I believe anywhere between 4,500 if you guys complete this every update. So free 4,500 essence stones every update is insane. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. Do not slack on that. I'm pretty much slacking on that right now. I got about 13 days to go ahead and complete it. But if you're a mid-game player, this might be a little bit difficult, but if you're an end-game player, then this is easy essence stones, right? But regardless, make sure you guys grind it out. I will say that the knack with Battlefield of Trials Challenge is that it will be specific to the element Netmarble is trying to push at the time. So as of the March update, yes, we're doing anti-fire content and we're doing recommended win content. Very predictable, but regardless, guys, you have the ability to get various different things like 100k gold, let's say some weapon enhancement, mana crystals, melting cubes, hunter skill scrolls, more gold, and even more, guys. So you always want to grind this out. If you guys can't grind out all the way to floor 15, grind as hard as you can. Honestly, you won't regret grinding these out because this is very useful, and you want to basically go ahead and get as much rewards as possible. But no game mode might be important than Workshop of Brilliant Light. As you guys know, this is where we fight the Monarch. So the Monarch of White Flames, whether it's the Monarch of Transfiguration or the Monarchs to come, you guys want to go ahead and play out each and every WOBO to get the various different listed rewards you guys see on here. So as if we're talking about, let's say the Demon Castle lower floors, we're getting the Vulcan based cores. If we're doing the upper floors, we're getting the other cores, and then if we're doing the Spire of Transfiguration, we're getting the newer cores. So as more game modes release, as we get more Monarchs and as we get more content, we're going to have the ability to grind out and get things called remnant power. So we're going to have the ability to basically put Monarchs on our side. They're going to give us various different other things on top of that, and we will basically get the newest power creep. So if you want to be an end game player, you will need to go through Workshop of Brilliant Light. And then of course we do have, let's say, events. Whatever events is currently going on, you guys want to pay attention to that. It'll always be towards the bottom of the screen. It'll be super free, easy rewards that you do not want to slack on. But guys, that is the most important things to focus on to optimize your solo leveling Arise account. What do you guys think of the account optimization guide? Go ahead and leave your thoughts, theories, and comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all take care. Peace.